Imagine what life was like more than 150 years ago. No phones, no electric lights, no computers. You'd have to grow your own food, spin yarn for cloth, make your own candles, and even make your own household items. Well, actually, you don't have to imagine it. Come and see and do for yourself at Westville, a working village from the 1850s.
Westville is an 1850 reconstructed living history museum. You travel through Westville, you would see the potter working like he did on a daily basis in the early 19th century, and the basket making, woodworking, quilting, weaving, candle dipping, some games that children may have played during that time.
These kids are playing a game called Graces and Hoops. The goal is to catch the wooden ring on the sticks. I had a go and did quite well, I think. Afterwards, we visited some of the artisans in the village. Nia and her daughter Emma were making candles.
This is a candle that has been dipped 100 times into tallow. Tallow is rendered down animal fat. All you do is take your wick. This has been dipped probably about 4 times, 5 times, built up. Remember, you have to do it 100 times. You just dip it down, bring it right back up, let it drip over the cauldron of hot wax, and then hang it back up. And move on to your next one.
Fred Rembert runs Westville's wood shop. He was busy finishing a stool when we arrived.
This tool was used in making a lot of axe handles, pitchforks, shingles, all your dials. You raise it and lock it and chain and work it right around.
It takes about 10 minutes to do a stool leg, or you can take your rounded piece of wood, make something more elaborate using the lathe. There's no electricity, remember. It's all powered by hand. The pottery shop was a vital part of the small community. The potter provided pitchers, jugs, and jars for the townspeople, and was usually situated near a source of clay.
People work with different kinds of clay, and there's some of the worst clays may wind up being some of the best pots depending on the person working with it. I like the whole process, everything about it, just the forming process, the way the clay works when it's wet, the glazing, which is, I work sort of like a cook more than a chemist, but I know about materials.
Pottery was usually a man's job in 1850, but the weaving and quilting was left to the women. Miss Jeanette only learned to weave 12 years ago, but has fond memories of Westville from her childhood.
I grew up this way, and so to me this is home. And I've always loved Westville. I grew up before the electricity came along, you know, so, and I grew up on a farm. It's farm life like they had back then in the South. And I thoroughly appreciate everyone growing up the way I did.
Bobby Hollard is the quilting expert. She's an old hand at this. She's been doing it since she was 12. What's the special idea behind the handmade quilts?
To hold the lining and your batting and your top to hold it together.
Oh, so there's 3 layers.
There's 3 layers.
Top
Well,
layer.
you can see easier down that way, I believe.
Oh yeah, the top layer, and then the middle cushion to
That's
it, right?
what they call the batting,
Okay. And then the
lining.
Okay, so my effort was fairly basic. Here are some of the more elaborate designs. All of these patterns evolved from places, events, or everyday life. This one's called the wedding ring. Keeping Westville in good shape is a full-time job. It covers 55 acres and has over 30 buildings, like the doctor's office and the cobbler's shop, built by Johann George Singer in 1838. This lady was making soap. It takes a while. We found Sammy Fegan making biscuits in the farmhouse, and Shirlene Ponder whipping up some gingerbread at the other end of town. Shirlene, very good, very good. There's also a blacksmith shop, a hardware store, fancy houses, and more modest ones. But most of all, there's a sense of peace and quiet here that's hard to find in the modern world.
The thing I like the most about Westville is every day when you come in is just as quiet as you hear it now. The thing I like about it is that it is authentic. We do not take it any further. We stay within the time period. We see children coming and learning, and those children bringing back their own children now.